말해줘. 뭔지 몰라 도대체 어떻게 그럴 수가 있나 이 세상에는 나보다 더 잘난 남자가 있다는 걸 알아.
Hey, welcome back to Check the Vending Machines, weekly pop culture podcast on the internet, where two best friends get together to talk about pop culture news. I'm Jason. That's what's going on, man.
Man, not too terribly much. Just getting done with Christmas, heading into New Year's, just trying to keep in the zone, man, which is a problem because look, Jason, I took your suggestion, I took your advice.
Okay.
And I've started reading One Piece.
Oh.
And I know it's going to be a problem now.
Yeah, why? What's going on?
Because every time I get to this part, I'm like, yeah, I fucking love One Piece. It's a great manga, and now I know I'm not going to be able to put it down until I fucking catch up.
Well,
which is going to be a problem because it's like 1,000 chapters.
Well, where are you at? Are you starting from the beginning again?
Yeah. Okay. I just started straight up from the beginning because I wanted to see what the manga did differently.
Right. Right.
So I'm only like a little under 40 chapters in, but
okay. So you're not even at the good stuff yet.
No, I'm just at the Captain Kuro stuff now, which actually, honestly, I really like the Kuro arc.
Yeah.
When Usopp is introduced. Mostly because I just like Kuro. I think he's like a dope ass pirate. Like his power's really cool with like the cat step and all that shit, and his fucking giant blade claws that make no sense whatsoever. But
I really I don't even think One Piece personally gets good until Water 7.
Which is Frankie, right?
Which is the 7th arc. At that point, there's already like people really like. I know
Alabasta. People
like that
right?
arc. People like Crocodile stuff. People like Sky Island. Those are all fine. But
I don't really like Skyland Island. That's the one with the thunder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't really. I'm kind of like indifferent to that.
But Water 7 and Enies Lobby, that's kind of where Luffy finally gets the first power up, and that's where it becomes like shonen, and that to me is where like okay, we finally have pretty much the most of the crew at that point. Yeah. And then to me, that's kind of where, I mean, people will say it's popular, obviously, and good before that, which it is. That's why I keep reading. But I think that's where I'm like, okay, now we're above, like, Naruto
everything
and stuff.
Yeah.
We're at that point where now we're officially, like, the next level.
Is Water 7 when the leopard guy shows up?
The arc after that. Which is
because the leopard guy arc is the first one where he does second gear, right?
Yeah, they're like back to back. They're arcs back to back.
Yeah.
And they're kind of going to each other.
Because that's the Robin rescue arc, and then Water 7 is right after that. Yeah.
Well, I think it's Water 7, then Enies Lobby, but they're the same storyline.
Okay.
He just separated them as different titles for the arc, I believe.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that's where, to me, it's like, okay, now we're officially like, we're in good like shonen territory. Because before that, Luffy beats enemies by just fighting. Thinking of creative ways to fight Crocodile, but Enies Lobby is like, okay, now we have to really like push everyone into a different shonen.
Yeah, that's the first arc where like everybody gets a power up because that's when Nami does her like weather shit, and then Usopp doesn't he create some new sort of slingshot
like some tech or some like bomb or something? I can't remember exactly, but like
something like that. And I know Sanji gets his flame kick stuff. He starts doing that, and then what's the other ones? I know Chopper goes into like he starts like being creative with using his other forms like in tandem with each other.
So yeah, all that's like just like spread out from that point on.
Yeah.
But Luffy's first, and that's kind of where to me, like I said, it gets solidified as being a great show. And because that fight scene between Rob Lucci and Luffy it's one of my favorite scenes of all time. Fight sequence.
It's great. I remember it was like I stopped when I got into watching again, like probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I think I picked up from where I left off, which was like I think right after Alabasta. So I think it was It's like right when Robin joins the crew, and I can't remember the first arc after she joins, but then it was like, yeah, it was like Water 7 and the Robin rescue arc, and like watching, yeah, like the Rob Lucci fight, like that's such a good fight.
Yeah. But then you get into like so many more, like so much more better stuff.
Yeah,
Right, directly after that, all leading into Marineford, and then past that
yeah.
with this time skip. So it's all worth it, I think.
It's Marineford, and then the time skips just right after Marineford, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like the Marineford ends, and then it goes right, like immediately kind of starts. There's a couple chapters like of post Marineford, like kind of setting up the time skip.
And then it immediately goes to the time skip.
Yeah. So
How many years is the time skip? It's only a couple years.
I think
right?
it's either is it 2 or 5? It's not 5. 2? I think it's 2 years.
2 makes sense. That's like a
I
decent
think
amount.
it's
for a
2
time
years.
skip.
I can't remember exactly. I think it's 2.
Because I think
2.
Naruto's was that. I think Naruto's time skip is like, I think it's like 2 or 3 years or something like that.
Let's see. One Piece, because Luffy has like a sign for it.
Mm.
Time skip. 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but hey, that's not why we're here today.
It's not.
Excuse me. We're here on the podcast to wrap up what we started.
Yes.
To
Well, one of the things that we started.
go back to where it all began a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Matrix Resurrections, the latest and I guess potentially finale of the Matrix franchise. We'll see, seeing how people do, how it does.
Yeah.
As of now, you assume it's the finale. Came out December 22nd, HBO Max home release, theater.
Yes.
We both watched it, obviously. Zach,
Yes.
let's get into it, man. What did you expect going in to the Matrix Resurrections, and just from off the top, like how did you feel finishing the movie?
I don't honestly know what I was really expecting. I think I was expecting what I hoped for was a satisfactory answer to why we're even having this movie in the first place, and I did not get that. So, I think overall, I'm kind of like meh about the movie. Like, I don't virulently hate it, but I think it could have been so much better than it was. I think it's a lot of wasted potential.
Yeah.
Specifically with the action scenes.
Yeah, I never wanted this movie.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why it was happening. And when it was confirmed and it was happening, if we were getting closer and closer, I'm like, okay, well, maybe more Matrix can be good. Even if it's convoluted and crappy or worse than Reloaded or Revolutions in people's opinions or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went into this movie with the bare minimum expectation because I've been burned so many times at the theater.
If there's one thing about modern Hollywood, it's set your expectations
Well,
low.
it's not even modern cinema. It's modern. It's Wachowski.
Well, that too.
Like, you know, like being one of 10 people in the theater seeing Jupiter Ascending was like, I'm here because I have faith in the Wachowskis.
And then they let you down.
You know, or me and our friends being like, 5 of 20 people seeing Speed Racer, which is, I think it's a good movie. But like, stuff like that, being okay, we have faith in Wachowskis to do the right thing because they amazed me one time and lukewarm surprised me twice. So I have faith. It's the same feeling I have with Neil Blomkamp. I give you so much effort because you surprised me so much with that first movie, which I hear Peter Jackson was really kind of like the guy who did the groundwork on that, from what I understand. I guess I don't know.
I can believe that.
I give you faith. I have faith, and I watch your next movie, and it sucks. I watch your next movie, and I don't like that movie, so I'm just done. I'm done with you. Yeah. But the Wachowskis made The Matrix, so I have faith. And the bare minimum expectations for me are that the story could suck. The reasoning behind Neo being there and Trinity being there could be completely money grab potential or some stupid crap. All that could be there, and it can be shit. but at least it's the Matrix, and the Matrix gives me one thing:
Good action.
Hong Kong action cinema.
Yeah.
And immediately, I was let down from the beginning.
Yeah.
From the beginning, I was like, this is not Hong Kong choreo. This is not Hong Kong choreo shooting. So let's get into it that way. From there,
Okay.
how do you feel about? Let's just go with the story, because the story is what people. Because when I see online right now, and people going back and forth about this movie on like different Facebook groups I'm in, and then none of these groups are specifically Hong Kong action groups or martial art movie groups, because the groups I'm in for those fucking rail this movie because we go into it with the expectations of Hong Kong cinema, and it's not that, so we're let down. But people who don't care about Hong Kong cinema and just care about the story elements, some people really, really enjoy the meta commentary critique of whatever. How did you feel going into it, especially that first hour?
Dude, that first hour is rough stuff. Like, I was fine with it the first time when they were like, I think the actual context of like recontextualizing like as like a new like brainworm for Neo that like the Matrix is like a game, because it kind of does feel like a video game at sometimes. Like it's something that could easily be adapted. And we've had Matrix video games, so like clearly it like kind of lends itself to that world. I think that's an interesting concept, but I absolutely hated how much they beat you up over the head with the fact that like we're talking about the Matrix and what the Matrix means and what it did for cinema and like what fans really think about it, what it really means to fans, because it's all about explosions, blue, blue, blue. And I hated that. It was so preachy and annoying, and clearly like did not understand, even though they clearly thought that they did, it did not understand what the Matrix was about.
So I agree. I think for the most part, that first hour where before Neo was unplugged again,
Yeah.
I just don't understand why it exists. That first hour, I'm waiting for the movie to prove to me why this movie exists.
They give you a half-assed reason at like an hour and a half in.
Yeah, and then that reasoning is not good enough for me.
It's not a very good reason.
But the idea that we're gonna be meta and critique our own film trilogy and the critical response and the fan adoration for the movies and whatever they're trying to critique and the lingo they're using, the WTF and all this kind of stuff. I sat there for an hour and some change, being like, I don't get what the fuck the goal is. I don't understand, because if your goal, because if the Matrix 1, 2, and 3 was supposed to be just this cool sci-fi tale that pulled on elements of philosophy, cyberpunk, Hong Kong, all these different things and messages or whatever you could do, it tonally doesn't know what it's doing in the sense of the trilogy. Like, this movie makes no sense compared to the rest of the trilogy. Doesn't even connect at all.
Well, I mean, I think that's the main problem when it's like, and I mean, The Matrix isn't the first movie to do this, but when these movies try to be like metatextual about like what the series means in general and like what it means to like the nature of cinema or whatnot, or like its place in like the cinema history or whatever, it just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work for you to talk about like talking down to fans, like all they care about is explosions and bullet time, when then you go to the end of this movie and like the entire like plot point of like how the main bad guy fights Neo is like, oh, it's all about bullet time. We recontextualize bullet time. It's like, the fuck are you even talking about, dude? Like,
and
I don't know.
That whole thread.
Also, it doesn't make any sense. A machine knows bullet time. The whole point of bullet time, it's like, I can't get into it. I'm gonna get upset.
The whole thread about the Neo being the game producer, game creator, and having to like make another installment because the studio wants another installment, Warner Bros. Wants another installment, and they're gonna make it either way.
Also, the fact that like they're like trying to shit talk Warner Brothers. I'm like, you fuckers! Like, the only reason this movie's made is because of Warner Brothers. So, like, what the hell are you trying to do right now? It's not like Warner Brothers forced you to make. I know for absolute certain that Warner Brothers did not force the Wachowskis to make a new Matrix movie. So, like, what are you even talking about?
Well, the fact that only one Wachowski came back to do it tells me
Yeah.
tells me plenty. But
Yeah.
all of that stuff and how cheeky it is, and yeah, it's cool commentary. It's not like it's wrong. I think it's fine commentary. To talk about
I think
sequelitis and all that
it's.
kind of stuff. I think that's perfectly fine. But the point,
I just
but
don't
the
like how it beats you over the head with it.
well, yeah, I think that's it's super heavy handed, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
But I think the core of the critique I'm perfectly fine with. But to me, the mistake is that you try to like almost like tried it purposefully or not. I think it's not. I think they just did it by proxy of making making a lazy film.
Yeah.
Was that they try to do this meta critique stuff of what the original trilogy was, what the original movies did, and how the response was for it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's perfectly fine for people who are film cinephiles who like to subvert expectations and watch Criterion movies
Mm-hmm.
strictly,
Yeah.
right? But like people like me, I didn't go to the Matrix because of the philosophy. That's cool stuff that's there. I went to the Matrix because of Chad Stahelski and Tiger Chen and like the Hong Kong shit that I loved that I see two
Mm-hmm.
white dudes from Chicago are doing. That's in America. That's why I was drawn to these movies. And even if Reloaded Revolutions are not good, at least they're doing the cinematography that I think is impressive.
Yeah.
So I come to this movie and you want to beat me over the head with this like monotonous, boring meta critique of yourself.
Yeah.
And then even with that being said, you make a shit movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest problem with it is that, like, I don't think. Okay, I will agree. I don't think their metatextual dissection or whatever is like that far off. But like, I feel like the point they were trying to make of it is like the Matrix can be more than this. Maybe
Yeah.
is like maybe how I could see that. But then you just make the first movie again.
Yeah.
So like, what was even the point?
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to like say that like we're trying to do something different, like we know exactly what the Matrix is about, and we're gonna do something different, and then I watch the movie, and it's the same fucking movie. What's the point?
But you say like, okay, they make the whole
Like at that point, it's just like you trying to show off how smart you are.
but the whole point they go, oh, we're gonna the critique is the Matrix is this and this and bullet time and all this kind of crap, but yet
Yeah.
Morpheus still finds Neo.
Yeah.
And this time Trinity.
Also, I think Morpheus was probably my biggest letdown. In the whole thing.
And this time Trinity won't be just another cool character that also loves the One. She'll be the One also in her own little way.
Yeah.
What's the fucking point?
Yeah.
All it does to me is ruin what Revolutions did right, which was end it, boom, done.
Yeah.
End it for all the things that were wrong and Reloaded. Story wise, Revolutions or Resurrections, excuse me. And everything that Revolutions did to end Resurrection just wastes it, removes it from. It's exactly what Terminator 3 did to T2. Which is like,
Yeah.
holy shit, we ended it perfectly fine. Why fucking make this piece of shit thing that just takes away
Don't say but what you make it. Liar.
everything?
Just kidding. Skynet
your
still
choice.
exists.
You choose this, everything will be okay. Actually, sorry, guess what? It would have happened either way.
Guess what? It's still gonna fucking happen because you actually can't change fate. Because fuck you.
It is so stupid.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like. Yeah, I just don't know.
And what's the commentary, Zach? Like the commentary is what? Oh, Warner Brothers and big studios will make a sequel to another franchise to make money, and that it'll be the same thing over again. So what we're gonna do is do the same thing, but we're gonna make it half-assed, and people who appreciate what you guys did the first movies, in terms of the action sequences, are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because the people who have action eyes are gonna watch this movie or have watched this movie and go, "Holy shit, this is."
Yeah.
My point being this. Story-wise, makes zero sense. Even with machines and people being pooped out of bags. It makes no sense. The reasoning makes no sense. But beyond that, filmmaking-wise, if you say that it's a regurgitation to make a fourth movie in a franchise, and we're going to make the same thing, and the Matrix is more than just bullet time and explosions and kung fu, and if that's what the point was, was to say the Matrix can be more than just what they were. Whether the critics said this or the fan says this, what I see is you remade the first movie and you didn't commit to training your actors in training at fucking a studio to learn choreography, to put the work in. So all I see is you're commentating on something, trying to be smart in like A24 or what the fuck you're trying to say, but all I see is you didn't commit. So in reality, you're still making the fucking you're commentating on the fucking thing you just did, which is make a shitty sequel to a movie.
Oh yeah, but all I was saying is like, yeah, if you're gonna have the meta aspect where you're like, we can do something without like giving people what they expect with just like the same like, you know, terms and the philosophy and all that kind of shit. And then you go to the fight scene and the Merovingian just shows up just for people to be like, I know the Merovingian, and for bodies for them to fight. Like that's the only purpose he serves showing up in this.
And what's the I don't understand. Like, so and how does that change if you're critiquing that sequelitis in the beginning of the movie by being like, oh, Warner Bros. Is making a movie without us, whatever, and rehashing the famousness of the whatever. How does bringing the Merovingian back, because these exile programs survived another purge? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Also, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you have the whole thing where you have Neil Patrick Harris's villain built up as like he's the better architect.
Yeah.
Essentially,
he's an like architect and Oracle combined.
Yeah, basically, because it's like he's the better, because he's basically both of them combined into like one program. And you're like, oh, but he still sucks enough that there's still programs that slip through the cracks. Like, then what the fuck are we even doing here, dude?
The meta does not. Like, I honestly feel like whatever critique they're trying to do or were trying to say in the first part of the movie, they immediately go back into exactly what they're critiquing, which makes me go.
As soon as the actual plot starts, like, they just drop it immediately, and they're like, "Nope, it's just the first movie again."
And is that supposed to be like they're trying to do like we're gonna subvert your expectations by subverting your expectations, and like, because all I saw was you're critiquing sequels or franchises or something, and then you immediately fall back on what you had, but even worse. Because every fight with Neo is terrible.
Well, he's got the weird, like, bullshit force power that he, like, never used in an actual fight ever. Yeah. Like, the only real, like, one power that he really used in, like, actual fighting is, like, the defying gravity shit and, like, flying. Like, that's
catching bullets.
Now he's got some weird, like, force field shit. Like, what the hell is this?
Okay, so this is where my rant comes, my actual, like, rant about this movie. Because story-wise... I can go all day, and it's purely just because I think the story is terrible. I think the story is terrible. I think the reasoning to bring Neo back is terrible.
I think all the new stuff's bad. Like, I hate all the new crew. I hate the fact of, like, well, I don't mind it. It makes sense in the fact of, like, the Neo-ologist type of thing, where it's like, okay, so he's like Jesus, so yeah, you would have people that, like, are obsessed with their cyber Jesus. But I really just hate what they did with Morpheus, honestly. They, like, fucking throw him under the bus. And they're like, oh, yeah, he became the leader, and then he was a piece of shit that got us all killed. And
I think that everything about the humanity is stupid. I think the idea of working with these bullshit machine things is stupid. I think that the idea of we have these, like, the machines can work and physically touch our
the nano machine
that's all
shit.
Lame.
They're like hologram, but they're like metal or like some shit.
I think
don't know.
All that is so.
They're the baby face from the third movie, but they're like full bodies.
I think that whole thing is just so lame, and so lame as a reason to not have Lawrence Fishburne. I think it's so terrible and so lame, and the reason to have that Trinity's alive and Neo's alive to me is such a fucking stretch, even for the Matrix.
I don't understand how them being together makes more energy.
Well, not even together.
Plot of the movie. The whole plot of the movie is that, like, Neil Patrick Harris's character made a Matrix that makes more energy because they have less humans, because Neo and Trinity are at, like, the center of it.
And they're not together. They're just close enough, but not.
Yeah. They're close enough, but not touching, but they're close.
That means that there was never another cycle of the one.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense either. Or I guess you could interpret the fact that like they saved Neo's life, like stopped a reincarnation, because you can't like reincarnate if like the person's still alive. But
But they also never explained who chooses the one. Like if it's the Oracle, the Oracle just dies.
yeah, they're just like, oh, there's no Oracle, there's no Architect. Now it's just Neil Patrick Harris. So,
All
but
of
the
that.
Smith, but also they don't really explain how Smith is still around
Yeah.
again. They're just like, oh, Neo's there, so Smith has to be there. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like the whole fact of the third movie was like he destroyed the Smith program. So
Yeah. But also, is it actually Smith, or is it just Smith within the modal that Neo made? I don't care enough.
well, in the context of the movie, I have to assume that it's actually Smith because they keep playing scenes from the first three movies for the first
Right.
hour of this movie.
All I think about is that it's not Smith. It's the version of Smith that Neo makes in his modal, like Morpheus is. But then he becomes sentient, like Morpheus is, and learns about Neo, and that's why he's Smith. But either way, whatever the reasoning is, the point being, it sucks.
Yeah.
It's just not good. I saw people on Facebook groups I'm in say they loved it. They thought the commentary was great. Look, that's fine. That's not wrong. I don't watch The Matrix for movie commentary. That's my personal take on this. My hot take. I watch The Matrix for cyberpunk, kung fu, Hong Kong action cinema. Because nothing in the original movie critiqued fucking movies. So why do I give a shit?
It critiqued society.
It critiqued American action cinema by doing Hong Kong cinema. But the point by being like, we're going to critique franchises, massive bloated franchises, and then do the exact thing that you were critiquing. Blows my mind.
We're going to critique the reboot, remake, soft reboot culture of Hollywood, but we're essentially going to do a soft reboot of
We're going to do the exact same thing you're critiquing, but then yet... So
act like you're better than it somehow?
So, because either way, either way it turns out bad, in my opinion. Warner Brothers came to Wachowski and said we want another movie, and you took the money and you sold out. And sold out in terms of not like selling out your vision, but in terms of like the show was done, and you wanted more money.
Yeah.
You know it was going to make money, whatever. Or you wrote a script, had this idea for a commentary, bullshit, brought it to Warner Brothers. They said, yeah, let's do it, it'll make money. And you still made a shit movie. Yeah. So either way, I'm not impressed. Because you finished the story and it was fine. And the piss poor reasoning of, oh, we just rebuilt you. You died, and then you sacrificed your life and your whatever, and we just rebuilt you. In the entire movie, Neo does nothing.
No.
And whether it's
like
a 2021 commentary on the male hero, I don't fucking know. No one explicitly says that. But the idea that the entire movie, Neo just does this. When out of all the people in that cast, and this is where my rant has to kick into gear, and you can obviously jump on board. Of the entire cast, from what I understand, maybe I'm missing someone, but they're all actors.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is still doing Hong Kong choreo for John Wick at a high level with a director who worked on The Matrix.
Yeah.
Was a stunt guy on The Matrix. So why the fuck is Keanu not doing choreography? Was it, hey, he can't do it because he has to do John Wick 4? If that's the reason, don't make this fucking movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I don't understand how you can make this movie. Yeah, if you're not going to have Keanu do the choreo, because, like, we know he can still do choreo because he does it for John Wick.
But also,
so it's not like he's like unable to do it.
Right. And other actors, actresses, put them in training like the first movie. Because if Hugo fucking Weaving can go through 3 months to 6 months of fucking training, These young
Yeah.
people can do it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Groff can do it because his fight sequence looks like shit.
No, this is terrible.
But beyond all that, which is like super surface level action movie fanatic, pinpoint, focus, laser eye type stuff.
Yeah.
Action wise, how do you critique and have Neil Patrick Harris's character be like, oh, bullet time, baby, and then at the end of the movie, every fight sequence has so much bullet time to where because it's the crutch of we're not going to do Jason Bourne cuts. We're going to have it be so slow bullet time that way we can do quasi fight sequence choreography because our actors can't do it at real speed. That's all that is, and I know that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about? This is The Matrix.
Yeah, I don't. If you really look at like the first 3 Matrix movies, like bullet time is not used that often.
It's
like
not.
It's iconic, but it's not you. Look, it's the same thing that happens with Ghostbusters and with Star Wars and shit like that. At least with like the original movies, like the thing that it's iconic for is not used that often.
Yeah.
Because it's better when something is not used. It makes it more impressive when it's only used for a little bit and you see how impactful it can be when used in short bursts. When you see bullet time for like 50% of this movie, especially in the back half, it gets unimpressive. And it gets very boring very quickly. Because slow motion is boring if you just watch everything in slow motion.
I literally was like thinking to myself while watching this movie, which by the way, I had to fast forward protocol through some of that ending.
Dude, well, okay, first of all, can we talk about how the ending is just like World War Z and that's super fucking annoying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, why is this suddenly a fucking zombie movie?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, everybody just is like an agent. I'm like, fuck you. Agents are agents, and like, that's a thing. Like,
well,
don't
Zach,
just make zombie movies.
You don't get the Lana Wachowski's commentaries that those are the fans and they're a horde of people and blah, blah, or whatever the fuck. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, they're being a real fucking, what is it? Oh my god. Hold on. Who fuck did... I'm gonna get fucked in so much shit. Who did fucking Night of the Living Dead?
Romero.
Yeah, they're being a real fucking George Romero with this commentary about how all their fans are just fucking zombies.
So you don't give me fight sequences.
Yeah.
Fine.
Not fine. No.
Fine. Because at that point, this movie. Who does it serve but not Matrix fans? And don't get me wrong, I know there's Matrix fans who are going to be like, I love this movie.
Look, this serves the same people that fucking Star Wars 7 through 9 served.
Right. But you make this movie and you critique, you have the meta shit at the beginning, but you just make a Michael Bay movie. And there's no way the Wachowskis are going to praise Michael Bay.
No.
They might be like, The Rock was good.
They think Michael Bay's a hack.
They might be like, oh, the Rock was good, but Transformers, they're hacks. Yo, Transformers had a whole lot of slow-mo, and guess what this movie has? A whole lot of shit slow-mo.
Yeah.
At least Michael Bay action flicks are consistently fine.
At least it's his distinct style at this point. Like, you know what you're getting if you're watching a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as though Lana Wachowski went and watched a Snyder movie. I watched Justice League and went, okay, well, I can do that.
I can do that.
Or the studio said, hey, we're going to give you money, but I can give you time to train up these people. Because there's no... like.
That's what it feels like. It feels like they were put under a time constraint.
Well, even at the beginning of the flick, when... I don't know her name. What's her name? The Morpheus... character, not Morpheus, but the girl, the Asian girl with the blue hair.
Oh, the girl character,
like Bugs or something, or
it was, which is also stupid.
It's dumb.
Like Bugs, like the bunny. Yeah, I get it. You fucking dumb cunt.
So
like I get what you're saying.
That whole crew, but her specifically at the beginning of the movie where she jumps over the police car. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're gonna get some cool stuff. But before that, we had the Trinity scene. And I was like, this scene looks like shit.
First of all, I don't understand. If you're going to do the Trinity scene, why not just have Carrie-Anne Moss do it? Why have this fake-ass looking bitch?
Because she didn't train
costume?
either. Because Wachowski went to
It made me upset because I thought my eyes were tricking me
no.
when it wasn't Carrie Ann Moss. I was like, why does this not look like Carrie Ann Moss? I was like, oh, it's not. Why are they doing this if they're not going to have Carrie Ann Moss do
No,
it?
because all the Wachowski went to all the actors and said, "Hey, we're going to do a Matrix movie. It's going to be all talking.
Yeah.
We're going to subvert
Also,
the expectations of the Matrix."
I don't like how they try to do like the backdoor shit, and they're like, "Oh, it's all like Inception, trippy bit," and I was like, "No, like the back door is just like it's just a door. You just go in it, and it's a hallway.
Yeah.
It's not like this like defying gravity bullshit where you're like popping out the floor or some shit.
I really
Because why would there be a door in the floor? That makes no
Yeah.
sense.
I really felt like, okay, I'm going to say it from the get go. All the real world stuff sucked.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Also, the real world stuff made me mad because I'm like, okay, so Keanu did shave his head and shaved his beard.
Yeah.
So like he can do the short hair. Why not just have him do that for the rest of the movie?
Because at that point, then you have to be Neo, and he's not Neo in this movie. He's Tom.
No. Yeah, it's Tom.
Which, by the way, when the hell did Hugo Weaving ever call Mr. Anderson Tom?
No, he calls him Mr. Anderson. I think he calls him Mr. Anderson once, like when they had the first meeting, and then he's like Tom the rest of the time.
Terrible.
Stupid. So stupid.
Terrible. Fight sequence, that whole fight sequence when they go through that clearly COVID shot sequence of them fighting in that random warehouse on the wooden thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, get the fuck out of here. That's garbage. That whole sequence, garbage.
Terrible.
That whole crew, terrible. That whole fight sequence is
Yeah.
terrible. Drop down to that bullshit fake train sequence.
Well, it's
fight.
like, and then we saw it in the trailer, but like the bit where Morpheus shows up with Neo and they're like going in the game office and shit, and he's doing like not even like pointing his guns at people, and I'm like, you're not pointing your gun at anybody. Like, what are you doing right now? You're shooting people's ankles? What are you doing?
It's bad. And I saw people that were saying they really liked it. I was happy that people liked that. They liked it because I wish I could. I wish I could have walked out of the movie and been like, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
But the moment that I was watching that dojo fight, I was like, dude, this looks
Dude, that dojo fight was
like
terrible.
ass, man.
Also, it makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
Like, I guess for me, I really don't understand I don't get what they're trying to do with the PTSD Neo in like the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get the point of it.
Yeah.
I don't understand where it's like, I just don't get it. I don't get what they're trying to go for with like Neo as PTSD or whatever. I'm like, he doesn't. Like, he willingly like, why would he have PTSD? Like, it wasn't like it was like a sacrifice that was thrust upon him. Like, he actively chose to give up his life for the greater good. You don't get PTSD from that.
Hey, he did it. He does it still.
Yeah.
Halle Berry did it. We made a Hong Kong inspired action movie. We did it. This is not that long ago.
Yeah.
This ain't 10 years ago. He's still 55 or some shit here. He still did it.
Yeah.
Common did it in number 2.
Yeah.
And it looked great. So how do we have a cast of young people and young bucks, and we don't even try to make a competent looking action flick? Because at the end of the day, let's be real. Be fucking honest. Film nerds and sci-fi nerds maybe are going to look at The Matrix and go, sci-fi elements, commentary on philosophy and religion and whatever, machines.
The purpose of fate,
But the
fate
fucking
means, choice, all that
majority
shit.
of people who watch The Matrix
Yeah.
watch The Matrix because it has cool fucking fights. And they might not be able to pinpoint why the fights are cool, besides Neo dodging bullets in Matrix 1.
Yeah.
But subconsciously it's because they like watching Jackie Chan fights.
Yeah.
People like to pull that camera back and see the actors do the fights. Subconsciously people crave that. No one's going to watch Avengers and go, I prefer that version compared to this. People want to see John Wick fight in the antique store all day, every day, even if they can't tell you why.
Yeah.
They're going to pick this over Bourne Ultimatum any day.
Yeah.
I believe that fully. So if I take the train station fight with Neo and Smith and this fucking Resurrections garbage fight between Smith and Neo, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck? This has so much more cool shit." They spin around, they shoot the bullets, they make witty comments, they fight here, they jump in the ceiling, they fucking do some quick cool punches, they fly to the the train tracks. How's the fight end in the Resurrection, Zach? How's this fight end in Resurrection? How's Neo beat Smith in this movie? In that fight sequence?
I think he just force fields him, doesn't he?
Force fields him.
He just he uses the force. He just force pushes him back into a wall.
Not even by
He becomes a Jedi and he just boom.
Pushes him.
He does that against Morpheus, and I'm like, why are you straining this much against Morpheus?
You're the fucking one.
Like Morpheus, I get Morpheus is a program, but it's just based off a guy.
I get that it's
he's not an agent.
So I get that it's the new Matrix. So maybe the point was that Neo's not the one in this Matrix. I get it.
Yeah.
The code's different. That's why at the end of the movie, when Trinity is the one now too.
But then you get to the end of the movie and he can fly at the end
because they revert back to the old Matrix. And because Trinity's now also the one, I guess, when they revert back to the old Matrix, Neil Patrick Harris says...
They revert to the old Matrix, but she still gets to be the one also.
Neil Patrick Harris says, I guess you guys can do whatever you want now because they revert the Matrix back, and that's what the whole point of the movie, that last part of the movie, is they're going to revert it, whatever. First off, stupid story element. Terrible. And then that ending. What is this, a fucking WB cartoon? Are they gonna fly through the fucking WB sign? What are we doing?
I was expecting more cameos from other WB properties, like in every single other Warner Brothers movie like this.
Also,
I was expecting some Space Jam ship where they're going through the city and you see Clockwork Orange guys for no fucking reason.
You're gonna play Rage Against the Machine at the end of the movie, yet you live with machines? What raging is there?
Look, Jason, we all know the most egregious thing in this whole movie. There's no Rob Zombie.
No Rob Zombie.
No. They didn't listen to us. They didn't heed our advice. No Dracula. No club scene even. You thought there was going to be one, but there wasn't.
Well, because I thought that maybe Lana Wachowski had common fucking sense. But who am I? I'm just some fucking Joe Schmo, Joe Blow asshole. I'm just some fucking dude. I get it. But with that being said, the movie is it's down the middle from wherever I've looked.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about creative. I'm talking about just people. I'm seeing and maybe you want your movie to be flip. I don't know. But Matrix 1's not flip. Matrix 1 this is a fucking bomb movie.
Yeah.
This is not that. This is a letdown.
Oh my god.
This is a major letdown.
It's just disappointing. Disappointing.
I don't know what I don't know what the point was. What was the point of this movie? What was the point of this movie?
I mean, I can tell you that the point of the movie,
besides making money,
was to get a check.
Yeah, besides that, if you believe in art and your artistic vision and endeavor, what was the point that your critique of cinema at the time, your movie you're making with that critique becomes the same thing?
I guess the only thing that you could maybe ascertain is that women can also be powerful as men because Trinity becomes the one, and then you get your women's statement.
I didn't even feel that, though. Yeah, I get that, but I didn't even feel that.
No, I didn't feel that at all. I mean, it's such a half-assed thing that happens at the last minute.
Yeah.
You go the whole movie being she's just Trinity, and then they're in the last 2 minutes, they're oh, she's also the one.
Yeah, it felt so shoehorned.
I mean, it was the most disappointing thing ever where he tried to fly, and you're oh, you can't fly. And I'm okay, so he's not the one. Because at that point, he's been using powers. So it's okay, so he just can't fly for some reason?
I would have so much more. I would have so much more rathered it just have been like 200 years later, another one is just another cycle of the one,
Yeah.
or a fucking prequel, and we know it's not going to work out, but we get to see like the previous one. There's so much
Yeah.
more I would have rather seen. I would have rather seen another ship during Neo's fight against the machines, like
Oh, that'd be
like a
dope.
horror sci-fi movie where like you see actual like you see like not Niobe because fuck her, but you see another ship of people doing jobs for the resistance or whatever, and they're just like doing their
Mhm.
thing and they're fighting people, and then they go, oh shit, it's an agent, and it's a crew without Neo, and they have to like fucking survive like Dread style or some shit against an agent. I would rather have that fucking movie than this bullshit.
Also, you can tell me Niobe's the leader of this crew, and there's not gonna be no ghost.
Why would
Disrespecting the
Niobe be
Asian
the
people.
leader of this fucking place?
She's the only one left alive, apparently. Nobody else from this. Nobody else in this movie is from the original. As far as like, first of all, the fuck is IO?
In and out.
Like iOS? What is
Maybe it
this?
means in and out. I don't know.
In and out.
Well, like it's not like on a TV, like in out. I don't know.
Like Zion actually made sense because it's actually like the. I mean, if you want to get to the metatextual religious
Yeah.
aspect, that's like the Jewish homeland
Yeah.
type of thing. So that actually makes sense. What the fuck is IO? I've never even heard of IO my whole life.
Let's talk about.
It sounds like you misspelled
Can I
Zion.
mention real quick too, like also how we said it before, but like how much I hate Bugs or whatever her name is. I hate her
Yeah.
fucking crew. That annoying
Yeah, I
that
don't like anybody.
annoying shitty character. Oh my god, shut the fuck up, Zach. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Shut up. Hold on. Don't talk. This fucking this is not actress, whoever whatever your name is. This is not about the actress. This is not about her face, her acting ability. It's not. It's the character. It's the character. I know it's the character. It's not the person. So don't take it this way, anybody. That fucking scene where this dumb fucking character goes, I'm not here for you, Neo. I'm here for
Oh, I'm here for
Trinity.
Trinity?
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck
Who the
up.
fuck cares about Trinity?
Dude, shut up.
Oh my god.
Talk to my boy one more time.
Talk to literal space
Talk
Jesus.
to
one
literal
more-
cyberpunk messiah one more time.
Tell me that you're not here for him. Tell me you're here for Mother
I'm
Mary.
here for
What the fuck are you
Trinity?
talking about?
Don't get me wrong, she's a badass. And that's why I don't think
Yeah.
this movie needs to make her seem like she's more than what she was. Because we know she's badass. We know Trinity's badass. It never had to be said because we know she is. We see it. We see
Yeah.
her fight agents in Matrix 2, I was talking about last week. We see her fight agents in the first movie. She wouldn't have even tried. In number 2,
Yeah.
her Morpheus do it, and they don't succeed, but they hold their ground. That's fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
We see her sacrifice herself at the fucking power station to help Neo in 2. We see her sacrifice her life in 3. She is not a weak character. We don't need to feel that character. She is just as cool as Sarah Connor. She's fucking rad.
Yeah.
So, in this movie, to act like we have to give her some sort of like round of applause for being a cool that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's terrible writing. And for that sequence to even have happen of this fucking who the fuck are you, dude?
Yeah.
I'm goddamn Thomas Anderson. I'm the goddamn one. You're gonna look at me
Yeah.
in my face after what I did for this whole fucking place and tell
After what he did for you.
and tell me
After
that
what I did for you.
you're not here for me, bitch. You're here cause of me.
Yeah.
That to me is like the worst writing of all time. I literally had to pause my TV, get up, go outside with my dogs, and be like, what the fuck am I watching? What is this movie? What world are we in? Is it because the Wachowskis are no longer the brothers, they're the sisters now? That we had a fucking change? I don't know. But it makes no sense to me, logically or story element wise, why that sequence even exists. Because we know as Matrix fans that Neo respects the shit out of Trinity. He knows she's tough. Because in the first movie, Neo does nothing until save Morpheus.
No, he's a
The
completely
whole
passive
time,
character.
Trinity
so
is like,
they-
when they're in the fucking building, when Cypher betrays them, Trinity is the one in charge. When they're in the
Yeah.
fucking walls, Trinity's like, get the fuck down, keep fucking moving, leave him alone. Like Trinity's in charge. Trinity says, "It's my ship. Morpheus is not here. I'm in charge."
Yeah.
Neo is the whole time is a fucking mental case about being the one, and number two, who consoles him? Fucking Trinity.
Yeah.
So we know she has the ear of fucking Cyberpunk Messiah. So why the hell do we gotta do the Avengers girl moment in the Matrix?
Oh,
What's the fucking point?
yeah.
Because
I don't know.
even then, in the Matrix, you're not even really a woman or a man, because it's all zeros and ones.
Yeah. Also, I don't even get. Sorry to sidetrack.
No, you're
for a
fine. You're
little bit,
fine.
but like, I don't even understand the aspect of like, from a general concept of like, why the Matrix takes place in modern times. Because just basing off the first movie,
The peak
first
of
three
human
movies,
civilization.
yeah, the whole reason it takes place in 1999 in the context of the movie is that that's the peak of human civilization. So like, the new Matrix is like, oh, we're going to like the second peak. Like,
But they,
what the hell is
but
this?
they don't know, because you assume the peak of humanization was 1999, because right after that, in the year 2000 or 2001, society ended. So
Yeah.
they're like generating a potential future to exist in. It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
It doesn't. I don't know. It's just like, the more you think about it, the more holes there are. There's just holes. It's a whole. It's a holy movie.
You just have to sit there. And I genuinely, I am genuinely interested in people who really like the movie. And if it's purely because they like the meta stuff and the critique stuff, and that stuff is cool.
I would assume that
And that
that's
stuff
it.
is cool. I mean, that stuff is cool. It's interesting. It's
I
interesting.
think it's interesting, but it serves no actual purpose.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. And maybe it's because, again, I am an action movie fan first, not a, I don't know, Last Jedi fan. I'm not an A24 guy. I'm sitting next to a.
You're not about. Look, Jason. It's okay. You can admit you're not about films that are all about family because that's the most
No,
important
but I
thing.
love Fast and Furious. So it's not even true.
Well, that's.
It's not even true. But I'm sitting next to a Predator poster. I have Matrix right there. I have Bill and Ted right there. I have Bloodsport right here.
I noticed.
And I got
Bloodsport.
goddamn Three Ninjas poster behind me. So we know my cinematography enjoyment, right?
Mm.
But there is no world where if I didn't see this movie and someone told me the story, would I go, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, how did Trinity survive? Well, a machine was being sneaky and went back to where their ship crashed, and they took her, and then they used machines, and we don't explain how they rebuilt her brain, but we did it.
Also, it's like we don't understand. We don't explain how we brought her back to life when she'd been brain dead for probably like multiple days, which is like she's essentially, even if you did bring her back, what we know about medicine, she can't be an actual like functioning brain.
But also, they don't even say how long Neo was after they brought him back to life, and they could have kept trying to test on him.
Okay.
He could have been alive for like 5 years, and they just kept trying to fix him up to make him work. And then until finally they're like, oh, maybe we should get Trinity. We have no idea how long it's actually been.
I hope it wouldn't be that long because it's machines that are supposed to be like, the greatest thinking things on like the planet Earth. I hope it wouldn't take them 5 fucking years to be like, oh, maybe we should bring back like his loved one.
But even the idea of like, okay, you know what? It's a secret sect of machines. It's a dude, it's a machine guy, and
It's a machine guy who really likes the look of Neil Patrick Harris.
it just doesn't make sense. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'm fucking wrong. Maybe I'm so fucking stupid that I just don't get it.
I don't know.
Because I walked out of Revolutions being.
If you are, then I am too, because I don't fucking get it either.
I walked out of Revolutions whenever I finished. I remember being like, okay, I got what was going on. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I walked out of this movie being like, what the fuck was the point? That's my number one question is, what was the point?
Yeah.
Besides money, take away money.
Well, there's no point because we ended up exactly where we started. So there's no point.
Yeah.
There can't be a point
Yeah.
because we just ended. We ended where we started. So
Like, take away the money factor, because obviously it's a movie. I understand that movies make money. I understand that. But
Yeah.
in terms of not like ruining your own legacy,
Yeah.
I don't see the point. Maybe because I don't have a legacy of my own in cinema. Or maybe because I never made $1,000,000. I don't fucking know. But the point is, like, from a fan perspective, which my opinion obviously as a fan matters zero, but people should take into account what their fans say, to an extent, obviously, make your own vision. But
Right.
what was the goal? What was the artistic vision supposed to say, to do? What was the finish line supposed to say? Because I took The Matrix 1, and maybe this is me being a coast to coast person, like a last podcast, like I'm a conspiracy person to an extent, right?
Mm.
I took The Matrix 1 as like, this is a fucking heed your message, like the Terminator. This is like, don't fuck with machines.
Well, the Matrix 1 definitely feels like that. Yeah, like it's like the Terminator
cyberpunk.
message.
It's that cyberpunk fear.
Yeah.
But then yet we get this movie, and it's like, oh no, we're friends. We're friends with some of them.
I mean, that's it. Yeah. I mean, it still doesn't make sense. Where it's like, oh, some of the machines will like us. Well, it's like, well, if some of the machines like you, then why don't all the machines just like you? Like that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Like I thought the whole point was that they're in like a hive mind. So
Well, I
now
mean,
they're like, oh, there are some that like aren't in a hive
I
mind.
get that because the Oracle's an example of a sentient program that has her own AI beliefs. I understand that, but it's the idea of like, at any point, Niobe was like, "Yeah, let's just live with them." I don't think so, dude.
Well, look, it all worked out because we had Joe Jonas's wife come back as a character that barely anybody remembers.
Yeah, right. And Neo was perfectly cool with two machines living there. Yo, Neo should have been like, "What the?"
He had one thing to say about it, and then they explained it.
Yeah.
Their half-assed explanation. He was like, "Oh, okay."
Neo should have been like, "Yo, fuck this."
Yeah, he should immediately just like started. He should have been Frank Rella, and then I just started blasting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, Zach, let's end it there. At the end of the day, it's just a movie. And to quote,
we've still got the original trilogy,
right? And to quote a fantastic movie called High Fidelity, I will end it with this, and I'll give my score. All right,
Okay.
Here's High Fidelity, the book and/or movie. John Cusack, great movie. Books, records, films. These things matter. Call me shallow, but it's the fucking truth. My score for The Matrix Resurrections, 2 out of 5.
I'm gonna be honest. The more that we've been talking about it, I think if you'd asked me last week, I probably would have been like 2.5. I'm like 1.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. I think at the end of the day, outside of like our complaints about it, even like not taking into those of account, it's just like a mediocre movie.
Yeah, completely.
And
Completely.
there's nothing worse than a mediocre movie. There's not.
I
There's
would
nothing
rather
worse than,
movies
like,
suck.
I would rather be like visibly angry, or this movie just be like garbage, because then I could at least laugh at it.
Yes.
There's nothing to laugh at in this movie.
Yeah, all you feel is like kind of like let down.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. It's just a major letdown. And I don't know who to blame. I don't know who to. Is it my fault? Is it my own fault?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can't even blame Wachowski because, like, you look at. I mean, she directed it, but like, she didn't write this. It's two hacks that I've never heard of that wrote this.
Yeah.
So,
Like, is it my fault for I'm being let down? You know. But then I don't, because I just.
are we saying it's our fault for liking this and knowing what this should be?
Yeah. And is it my fault because I just watched Afterlife and they nailed it? Because Afterlife did exactly what Force Awakens should have done.
Yeah.
In an efficient way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. What other
Do we talk about the fact that, like, listening to the like Red Letter Media talk about Afterlife, I don't think I've ever actually disagreed with them that much
Oh,
before.
really? I could disagree with them all the time.
Eh, usually I kind of like get where they're coming from, but like yeah, with the Ghostbusters, I was like,
Well,
I
those
don't think
guys
you
are
guys
those
could
guys
do
are
it
so
ever.
vehemently against reboot franchise things, anyways.
Yeah,
That like I kind of just like don't care because
yeah,
one of the guys likes dumb movies, the other guy likes Star Trek too much, which is just doing the same thing over and over again to me. And
yeah.
that's also a very vague statement that I just said because I've been watching Star Trek and I like it. But the point being, like, okay, how many times can we have this exact same sort of like philosophical
Scenario.
disagreement
Yeah,
happen? Okay, gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, 2 out of 5 for me. Never gonna watch it again.
No, I don't think I'll ever watch it
I
again.
honestly think that I'll never watch anything but the first one again. I think I'm done.
I still like Reloaded.
It's
I'll
fine.
stand by Reloaded. I'll probably rewatch Reloaded
I
again.
think I can do what I do with Star Wars for now, at least to put it in a time seal, and be like, yeah, I think I'm just done. I think this has killed my Matrix love. So I think I'll this poster I'll take it off the wall, throw it away, just for now. For now, not it's not saying the movie's still great,
Alright.
but just for now,
Well, I would recommend maybe not throwing it away and just hiding it in the closet.
it's cheap enough I can throw it away. Buy a new one. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back next week for our end of the year wrap up. We're going to talk about our favorite things of the year, what we've been watching,
Yes.
what we've been playing, listening to, reading, we're looking forward to in 2022, movie wise, game wise, any of that stuff. Just a general massive collection of retrospective of the year, what we're
Yeah.
looking forward to, all that kind of jazz. So hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you back next week.
See you guys.